Thank you, Dr. Abdulaziz, and we are indeed very fortunate to have Tunku today. I forgot to mention he's also the DAP International Vice Chairman, so it's nice to have someone reflecting the broader spectrum of Pakatan Rakyat. If I may crave your indulgence for a few minutes just to speak about a cross-partisan initiative that was launched very recently here in London. It is called the My Overseas Vote campaign, which seeks to extend the right to vote to all Malaysians overseas. Now, there are an estimated 1 million Malaysians who are working and living overseas. And of this number, only the tiny proportion who form students, whom many of you may be, government servants and members of the armed forces are currently allowed to register as absent voters. What this means is that out of the roughly 15 million Malaysians who are entitled to vote, 1 million of that 15 million who are overseas are mostly deprived of the right to vote. The My Overseas Vote initiative hopes to raise awareness about this discrimination, to circulate a signature petition, and also to raise funds for a legal challenge against the election regulations that discriminate against the majority of Malaysians overseas. This is, in our view and in our legal advice, is clearly contrary to Article 8 of the Federal Constitution, which guarantees equal treatment to all people. We will have a signature. We'll have signature sheets on your way out this afternoon, and we hope you also take some flyers and visit our website and follow our Twitter feed to get more information about how to donate. We are looking to raise about 200,000 Malaysian ringgit. It sounds a lot, but it's because we have to cover the contingency of having to pay, in order to pay the government's costs in the event that we are unsuccessful. But as some of you may have done the maths, this works out at roughly 20 cents for every Malaysian who may be enfranchised as a result. And now we will call upon Mr. Tian Chua, who is the Member of Parliament for Batu and the PKR Information Chief. Many of you will be familiar with him because of his very lively altercations with the police. And I think it's becoming a bit of a habit for opposition politicians to come before the criminal court. But I'm sure they will all eventually be vindicated and be successful. Thank you.
Trying to get a bit of sunshine, which is a bit more rare in UK than any other occasion. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to maybe just spare a few moments to discuss a little bit of what's happened, and then we open for more discussion later. What we are facing today in Malaysia, with all the details, the Pakatan and so on and so forth. But what we come back to, the issues we are facing, the Barisan Nasional regime nowadays, to explain why so many oddities, whenever you hear about Malaysia, especially far away if you don't surf internet, it is only absurdities, only issues that become a joke of the international communities. This is a regime that is now losing its legitimacy. We have to look back. Previously, we may not enjoy a lot of freedom, civil liberties, and we still have one-party state, so on and so forth. But for a long periods of time, the government can claim that they have economic growth, using economy as an exchange for human rights, for civil liberty, so they can continue to be repressive. Then it turned around racism, racialism, to mobilize along racial unity as one of the tools to continue to stay in power. Now even that is slowly giving away with the existence of Pakatan with stronger unity that forged among us. That's why the regime now increasingly rely on religious sentiments, playing out communities to stay in power. This is a very dangerous trend, and this is more risky than we are talking about political maneuver. This is not about Pakatan trying to take over the states or we want to sustain the opposition's relevance in parliament. This is about a country future where a group of elites who has been in power for too long, they were worried about losing power. And they will do anything, and especially something that they are quite familiar with, which is ethnicities and religion as their final lines of defense. That's why the existence of Pakatan, it is not something that as a lot of people are trying to describe, a marriage of convenience. Actually, it's not really convenience for us to live together, but it is a long process that we have gone through. Is it true that opposition never cooperate? Which is not true. I mean, I remember when I first started, we have the Pakatan, we have the Barisan Authority. We got through a lot of discussion, and we managed to keep the three together. Anwar was in prison. We cleared a lot of differences. We managed to come up with a credible opposition. But maybe it was not the time yet, because the public was not ready. There was a lot of suspicions, especially from the non-Muslim, non-Malay communities. When Barisan Alternative was launched, we did not gain electorally. So you have politicians who say, well, maybe this is not the way to go. But that did not deter us to continue to stay together. And I would say that it is, although by default, now we are in power, in many states, and we have to work together, but it is also important that the existence of Pakatan as a new forum. For many years, for almost half a century, many of the issues are impossible to be discussed. Right? Whenever we raise something, there will be taboo for someone, and the big stick will come, whether ISA, OSA, or all the different will be used to stop us. But the value of Pakatan is not just about sharing seats in parliament or trying to maintain a majority in the state so that we can rule. But the value of Pakatan is that many of the issues that we have no opportunity to address as Malaysians get to discuss on the table.